This week on inCycle, we follow Trixi Worrack on the road to recovery.
I've had harder crashes with less consequences, but where I was more afraid.
A new team, but with a difference. Meet drop cycling.
I think that a team spirit is something that's very difficult to put your finger on, but it's something we certainly have.
Some can't wait, but there's no rush for others on the way to the top.
I think my way to the World Tour, I did actually 2 really good seasons in a row where I decided to stay on continental level for 1 more year in order to gain experience.
But first, hold on, Bjarne's back. Professional cycling can be an unstable sport. With 2 World Tour teams folding at the end of this season, the perfect cycling model has yet to be discovered. This could all be about to change. Former Tour de France winner and team owner Bjarne Riis and Saxo Bank co-founder Lars Seier Christensen have joined forces to take over a Continental Team Trefor, now rebranded as Team Virtu Pro-Veloconcept.
This is a team that actually has been feeding bigger teams over the years and always had a good structure in helping young talents going further. It makes a lot of sense for us, for Riis Seier project, to go into this, because that can give us a Danish base in this. We can use the team in our project. Apart from that, we would like to help Danish talents, doing something for them and have a good structure there. Plus, we would like to have this team as our feeder team for hopefully a future World Tour team. In Denmark we have tons of talents, and it's a small country, but we have many actually quite good cyclists.
Our project, the Riis Seier project, is built around the idea that you can have a number of businesses built around a World Tour team, and we actually see the Virtu Pro-Veloconcept team as one of those associated businesses. We want to do something that we believe can work. If that can serve as a model for other people doing sensible things to have more sustainable teams, so that's great.
The financial security of the team is key to its unique setup.
One of the problems in cycling, the stability you don't find everywhere, and that's of course something we would like to build up here. There's a huge market out there, and can we be involved there and build some stability financially, then we can also make some more financial stabilities for the teams in the future.
With a focus on development, Team Virtu Pro-Veloconcept features a host of young Danish talent, with one rider having a particularly special connection to its new owners, Bjarne Riis' son, Thomas.
I just kind of had to swallow it in the beginning to figure out, okay, this is kind of my area, and now he steps into this, and how's that going to be? But it turns out to be, for me personally, quite a good thing, because many of the things that I've kind of started out being inspired by, being with my dad at the tour and so on, seeing that whole world was what got me into cycling to begin with. I can see on my teammates and everybody around the team how his appearance has an impact on everyone, and he has a tendency to make a lot of people rediscover themselves.
I think it's funny that he's in this team. I mean, that's more or less by accident also. But of course pressure. I mean, being a cyclist, there's always pressure. But of course, being a son of me doesn't help, definitely. But then again, I think he can handle it, and I think it's important he's doing his career and not mine. The most scary thing is actually that I'm afraid if he's crashing,
Now, despite only taking over the team a matter of weeks ago, the impact has already been seen, with the team putting in its best performance of the season at the Tour of Denmark. That's something Seier and the riders put down to the presence of their former Tour de France winner.
But Bjarne has something that very few, if anybody else in the business has, This is of course something that the riders have noticed, and for sure, if and when we have the World Tour team, there will be no shortage of riders that would like to be part of it.
I feel like people really want to impress them, and I think it has given us some extra motivation, and we are really willing to suffer a little bit more, and we really just give it an extra go. Yeah, there's this special aura around him. When he's near you, you get a little electric and excited. He's my childhood idol. He's the reason I started cycling. So to have him here to support me is incredibly huge for me, and I think it is like that for every one of us. So it really means a lot.
And although it's very early days for the team, Riis has already set high expectations.
I'll help setting up the structure and ideas and the system. I would like to help the system to grow on the team, and why not being at least the best continental team in Denmark, but maybe also the best continental team in the world.
It was in a descent. I can't really tell. I was in a bend and was running a little wide, but I would have made it. It was not really spectacular, but all of a sudden I was on the ground. I was taken to the hospital. I felt really bad. Then all of a sudden they became a little panicked and took me to have a CAT scan to see what was going on. The kidney was bleeding so hard that I lost a lot of blood and felt really sick.
When Canyon SRAM rider Trixi Worrack crashed at the Trofeo Alfredo Binda, she saw her future as a professional cyclist thrown into doubt.
In the direct moments after, Ronnie was the director sportif in the race, and he rang to say that Trixie had had a crash and they were taking her to the hospital in Chitilio. Ronnie had just said that she had some pain in her back and in her side, and she had some trouble breathing. She was in a lot of pain, more pain than I've ever seen her before, and it was really quite shocking to see her there.
Following the crash, it soon became clear that Worrack was not only fighting for her career, but also for her life, as she underwent emergency surgery to remove her left kidney.
I spoke to her about the fact that they were going to remove the kidney, but at that point it was more about her life and not her career as an athlete.
The first week in hospital was really hard. I talked a lot with Beth, but things in the first few days were a real adjustment. I had no idea what would be possible with one kidney and how long I would feel so bad.
After a crash of that magnitude, things obviously became uncertain. Worrack having to deal with both physical and the mental impacts of the incident.
I'm not afraid. I mean, I've had much harder crashes where less has happened. So it was actually good to get back on the bike because the crash itself wasn't that bad, but there were a lot of consequences. You often have harder crashes with less consequences, but where you are more afraid afterwards.
3 months of recovery later, and Worrack returned in style. After completing Auensteiner Radsporttage, she took the German championships by storm, winning the individual time trial, 22 seconds ahead of Stephanie Pohl. That was a result that astonished even the most seasoned German cycling watchers.
In my mind, I was quite sure that she would for sure come back to racing, and in the weeks after that, whenever I spoke to her or saw her, then she was even more motivated than ever before, and the way she applied herself to rehabilitation and everything was quite inspirational. And so for the time trial at German Nationals, that was a surprise because of everything she's been through. But I mean, that's Trixie. That's why we like her so much on this team.
Ja, es war natürlich ein ganz besonderer Titel. Also ich war ja schon mal Zeitfahrtmeisterin 2009.
It was a special title. I've been time trial champion before in 2009, and a few times I've been German champion on the road. But after what's happened, it was a very special title. It was a confirmation after suffering for so long, just something special.
Ja, war was Besonderes.
I still have some troubles on the TT bike, but on the road bike it's quite okay. I have some problems with accelerating and pulling, or riding out of the saddle uphill. That hurts a bit, but it's just pain. Nothing can happen. The muscles in my belly were cut during the surgery, but nothing can happen there anymore, and we are used to pain. At the moment, we still have to see how my development continues. My level is quite okay, but I can't tell now if I will ever be able to get back to where I was before. I have to say that straight out. I won't dream too much. I'm still in the build-up phase and can't tell how long it will carry on, or at what point I will stagnate, or if I will come back to the point where I was before. But actually, I'm happy that I can just race my bike again. At the moment, I am satisfied with that.
Eye-catching jerseys, vivid bikes. It's been hard not to notice Drop's cycling team this season. From the first impressions alone, you'd find it hard to believe that this is a team in its first year of competition. And what's more, it's a squad made up entirely of amateur riders.
We basically set about trying to be the most professional women's amateur team in the world. And we felt that that was a good target that we could kind of all collectively come together on, whether that be the riders or the staff. So we try to do things properly, whether it's on the bike or off the bike or with a kit or engaging with the race organisers. And I think that's the thing that people have probably engaged with us on, you know, that we do try to do things properly.
For any new team, just getting to races alone is a massive challenge. But with invites to the Tour of Flanders and the Women's Tour, Drop's race schedule's taken on a form not even the man behind it could have dreamed of.
I think it was surprising, if I'm honest. But then again, you only kind of get out what you put in. I emailed every organiser of a UCI race this year on Christmas Eve, and sent all these emails out all over the world, explaining who we were, why we had 0 UCI points, and that we were very ambitious and we wanted to ride as many big races as possible. We'd accept wildcards. And I think that the race organisers really kind of supported what we were trying to do. I don't think we realised that at first, but when we got a wildcard entry into the Tour of Flanders, and I met the organiser of the Tour of Flanders in a bar in Belgium, who kind of remembered me emailing him just prior to Christmas. You know, he was impressed that we were doing that, and he'd watched our results.
In the increasingly crowded house that is British cycling, Drops exists to give those road riders, perhaps ignored by the national setup, an alternative path. Behind the jerseys and the bikes lies strong team unity, born out of riders loving what they're doing.
I think that a team spirit is something that's very difficult to put your finger on, but it's something we certainly have. So we were very fortunate. We'd got quite a lot of riders wanting to ride for us. So it was more of a case of picking the right riders that we felt could actually be competitive in the environment that we wanted to expose them to, but with the right personality. And I think largely we've got that right.
Drops has already seen the emergence of bona fide superstars. British under-23 champion Alice Barnes has consistently shown her ability against the best in the world, including a top 10 performance at Ride London.
I decided to take more of a road focus this year, and it kind of worked quite well with Drops, and Bob approached me, and I think the programme and the way the team was run really fitted well with what I was wanting to do this year. So yeah, I was really happy to join the team.
While Barnes excels, other riders are enjoying the professional environment under Varney and others' guidance.
Like when Bob has a vision, I think he'll just do anything to get to it. So it's pretty amazing what he's done in 1 year, 1 season, and it lifts all of us up because he gives so much to us. So yeah, just very encouraging. There's not really any pressure at the moment on me. So just to develop sort of in an environment which is full of the best women in the world, it's pretty cool being thrown in at the deep end.
It's a really well-established team, and I think the way they run it is really good with it's not too serious and we have a really good time, but also at the same time where we do get the results and we ride well as a team, so I think that's quite good in how we've come across.
For young riders like Barnes and Van Twisk, racing with drops this year has given them unique opportunities.
It is the new normal, and they're accepted and they're let into the line. We did a race in Belgium where Ellie Dickinson came with us, and the Belgian national champion, during a pretty tough section with cross rins, and it was all lined out, just opened the wheel up and pushed Ellie in. And Ellie at the time was still 17, and that's pretty cool when you've got that level of acceptance, by the pro peloton.
With year one already a resounding success, where next? Things going so well on the road, the answer lies off it.
I mean, next year we've made the promise that we would really try to go professional in the true sense of the word. And that's what we're working on at the moment. Can't stand still, we need to move forward. We're always looking at ways we can improve. And I think the biggest thing is if we can deliver on the sponsorship front. That's going to be key, because then we can give the girls a salary, and then we can be true to that goal. And then I think that the rest will follow, really. As long as the girls are performing on the bike and the race organisers like what we do, if we can get some funding into the girls' pockets so they're truly professional, I think we'd say that that would be a super step up for year two.
I'm Magnus Kort from Denmark. Grew up on a smaller island, Bornholm, in the Baltic Sea. Yeah, it's an island lying quite far away from Denmark. You have to pass Sweden actually to get to Copenhagen. It's a 3-hour trip if you go by boat and car. And it's 105 kilometers if I do a lap, but there's plenty of small roads, and it's a pretty hilly island as well. So yeah, I've got lots of good kilometers in there, and it's perfect for cycling with no big roads and really exciting terrain.
Located 200 kilometres off the Danish coast, Bornholm offered the perfect environment for Magnus Kort to discover cycling. The island's hilly terrain providing a tougher topography than most of the mainland.
I think I got my first bike when I was 12 years old, but then it took a couple of years before I started doing races. In the beginning I was just doing some rides with my dad and some of his friends, and slowly starting to do some local races on the island, and then some licensed races in the rest of Denmark. And done also a lot of mountain biking, especially doing juniors. And then as second year of junior, I got my focus on the road 100%.
After impressing in his first 2 years at continental level, Kort decided to delay progressing to the World Tour in favour of another continental season. After racking up an astonishing number of wins that year, he then made the step up.
Yeah, I think my way to the World Tour, I did actually 2 really good seasons in a row where I decided to stay on continental level for 1 more year in order to gain experience and get everything out of it I could as a young rider on continental teams. And of course it was a big step still to go to the World Tour, but I think it helped me that I had 1 more year kind of at home. It's a big step up. The biggest races I did before is now the smallest races I do in a season. And then I have really big races with all the big names, and that makes it of course harder to do results, and it was something I was prepared on before, that I was not going to get 14 wins as my last season on continental level. But I think I've done it alright, and I'm happy where I am right now.
The young Dane's move to the World Tour came with what is now Orica Bike Exchange. The team seeing Kort as a classics rider for the future, having already helped Matthew Hayman to victory at this year's Paris-Roubaix.
Yeah, it was of course a huge win for the team, and really nice to be there. And I was in the break with him for quite a long time, and it's a race that I see it as the biggest one-day race of the year, and it's really nice to be part of that, and it's a race that I hope to do well in the future. Yeah, I'm really happy with Orica. They've been a great team for me, and I really quickly felt like I was a part of the group, and yeah, was really a part of the team from the beginning. I think it's just a great team. The atmosphere, the riders there are open and welcoming you, and they could see who I am and gave me respect.
Kort has also ridden in the Danish national team jersey, most recently coming second overall at the Tour of Denmark, while picking up a stage win along the way.
The stage win in Tour of Denmark was a nice one. I had a season last year without any wins, and I really wanted to get a win this year, and it was amazing to get one, and I got a lot of support from the team, and it was amazing to get there and to get this win. Yeah, it's a bit different in Tour of Denmark, where we ride for the national team. We are a mix of professional riders this year and young upcoming riders, and this year we have a really strong team and people are committing to each other, and even though we don't ride together, and that's really nice for me to have such a young and talented team around me.
Next up for Kort is a trip to Spain and his first Grand Tour, with Orica hoping their young star will deliver on the fast stages.
Of course, it's a big thing to do a Grand Tour. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it has always been there that they wanted me to do one in my second year as a pro, and it's looks like I'm going now. And the main thing for the team will be the GC, and I'll kind of go there and do my own thing and concentrate on some sprints. Yeah, the podium would be a big thing on one stage, and I think my chances for doing top 5 and 10th, they're for sure there. I've done that many times, and that's what I want to do in my first Grand Tour, and from there on start focusing even higher.
That's all for this week. Join us next time, but until then, keep up to date with us on social media.